Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to learn how to solve equations with combining like terms. This is lesson 3.1 from your textbook. We're going to begin with the term like terms. Like terms are terms that have the same variable with the same power. I have three examples here to illustrate that. 5x cubed plus 2x cubed plus 9x cubed. All these terms have x cubed in them. Because they are like terms, they have the same variable with the same power. These are considered like terms, and we can combine them. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 9 is 16. So this is 16x cubed. We keep the variable with its power. We just combine the numbers. All right, let's look at the next one. These are all like terms, okay? 4m to the 6, 7m to the 6, 15m to the 6. They all have the same variable m with the same power 6. So we can combine those to get one term. 4m to the 6 plus 7m to the 6th is 11m to the 6th. Plus, we'll add the 15m to the 6th. So this will be 26m to the 6th. All right, let's look at the next example. 3y plus 6y plus 14y. These are considered like terms because we have the same variable with the same power. If you see no power, it is automatically understood to be to the power of 1. To the power of 1. But we just don't write it out. So I'll just erase it. Okay, we can combine those terms into one term. 14 plus 6 is 20, plus 3 is 23. So this is 23y. All right, so here is an example of terms that are not alike. These are not like terms because you do have the same variable x, but you don't have the same power. You see, this is 4, this is 3, and this is 7. So these are not like terms, and we cannot combine them. All right, let's keep going. So let's start our first example. Combine like terms. We are given 3x plus 4x plus 2x. They are all like terms because we have the same variable x to the same power 1, so we can combine these like terms. So 3x plus 4x is 7x, plus 2x is 9x. All right, number 2. Okay, it's mixed here, so we have to combine the like terms. So I'm going to circle this term and this term. They are alike. Let me try that again. You always want, when you're doing this, you always want to circle the term and the operation in front of it, or the sign in front of it. So we have 6y and 8y. These are powers. These are terms with the same variable to the same power. We can combine them together to get 14y. All right, we also have these like terms, 4x and 7x. They have the same variable to the same power. We can combine those. 4x plus 7x will give us plus 11x. And that's it. We've combined the like terms in this expression. All right, let's look at the next one, number 3. We do have like terms because they have the same variable to the same power. So we can combine all of them. Minus 5x minus 10x gives us minus 15x, and another minus 5x gives us negative 18x. All right, so we have a mixture here. So I'll circle the first group of like terms. Okay, every term that has m to the first, I've circled it. Now we can combine those. Okay, so negative 6m and negative 8m, That's negative 14m. Negative 14m, add 4m to that. That will bring you down to negative 10m. Okay? And I see that we can combine these terms. These are like terms. 12n minus 2n is plus 10n. All right, so now we have an equation here with like terms. So the first thing you want to do is combine the like terms. 4x minus 8x is minus 4x equals 12. Divide both sides by negative 4, and x equals negative 3. All right, let's go on to number 6. I see that we can combine this 5x plus this 5x to give us 10x, because these are like terms. Copy the rest of the problem. And now we can solve this for x. So let's add 4 to both sides. We'll have 10x equals 20. Divide both sides by 10, and x equals 2. All right, let's go on. Number 7. So we have 9x minus 3x, that'll give us 6x. So you always want to start by combining like terms, if there are terms that can be combined. Now let's add 8 to both sides. So we'll have 6x equals 18. Divide both sides by 6, and x equals 3. All right, number 8. 1.2x plus 1.2x, these are like terms. We can combine them. That'll give us 2.4x equals 4.8. Divide both sides by 2.4. X equals 2. All right. Before we can solve this equation, we have to combine like terms. Now, if this equation confuses you because you don't see a number in front of x, you can always put a 1. If you have x, that means you have 1x. So you can put the 1. We just don't put it, but you can put it. All right, so 1x plus 0.12x, that's 1.12x combined together, equals 3.2. And now for some of these problems, they're not going to give us whole numbers. We may have to round to the nearest hundredths. We could round to the nearest tenths, but I'm choosing to round to the nearest hundredths with these problems here. All right, so let's divide both sides by 1.12. And we're going to have to round to the nearest hundredths here because we get a long decimal. So rounded to the nearest hundredth, it'll be 2.86. All right, number 10. Again, before we can solve this equation, we have to combine like terms. We have this term and this term that can be combined. So that'll give us 1.3n equals 39. Divide both sides by 1.3, and n equals 30. All right, again, we have like terms we can combine before we can solve this equation. So negative 0.62 plus 0.22x, that'll give us negative 0.40 equals 12.4. We don't really have to write it this way. Negative 0.40 is the same thing as negative 0.4. Actually, we could even do better. We could write it this way. Negative 0.4. Okay, that means the same thing as this, 0.40. X equals 12.4. Okay, because this is 4/10 and this is 4/10. We have nothing here in the hundredths place value, so there's no need to write it. All right, so now we're going to divide both sides by negative 0.4, negative 0.4, and when we divide these out, we're going to get negative 31. Negative 3.2x minus 5.4x, these are like terms, we can combine them to get negative 8.6x equals 24.8. We'll divide both sides by negative 8.6. And we're going to round to the nearest hundredths here, and we should get 2.88. All right, so now we do have to combine like terms, but some of these terms are in the form of fractions. So we have to do a little bit more work to solve these problems. So what I'm going to do is get rid of these fractions to make it easy to solve this problem. And you can get rid of the fractions that are in an equation anytime you want by taking the least common multiple, the least LCM, least common multiple. Okay, so we're asking the question, what number will 5 and 2 divide evenly? That number is 10. There are other numbers that 5 and 2 will divide evenly, but we're interested in the least common multiple, the smallest number that these two will divide. So that number is 10. So I'll multiply this term by 10, I'll multiply this term by 10, and I have to multiply this term by 10. You have to multiply every term in the equation if you're going to use this strategy to get rid of the fraction, to make it easier to solve the problem. All right, so now you have 10 times 1 in the numerator, that's 10. Divide that by 5, that'll give you 2x instead. 10 times 1 is 10, divided by 2, that's going to give you minus 5x. Equals 3 times 10, that's 30. And now you see how much easier it is to solve this problem? So we have 2x minus 5x, that's going to give us negative 3x, equals 30. Divide both sides by negative 3, and x equals negative 10. Okay? We're going to do the same thing here. We have like terms with fractions, and we want to get rid of those fractions. So we're going to use the least common multiple. You are thinking, what number will 4 and 2 divide evenly? Well, 4 will work because 4 divides 4 and 2 divides 4. I don't need a number higher than that. 4 is the least common multiple. So I'll multiply this term by 4, I'll multiply this term by 4, and I'll multiply this term by 4, every single term in the equation. Now 4 times 3 in the numerator will give me 12. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so now I have 3x instead. 4 times 1 is 4, divided by 2 is 2x. And 10 times 4 is 40, and now this is so much easier to solve. 3x plus 2x is 5x, equals 40. Divide both sides by 5, and x equals 8. And that's it. All right, let's go to number 15. Look at all the fractions. Okay, we can get rid of all of them and make this much easier to solve. So let's come up with the least common multiple. What number will 3 and 4 divide evenly? That number has to be 12. This is the least common multiple. So we have to multiply this number by 12, this number by 12, this number by 12, and this number by 12. Every term in the equation. 12 times 2 is 24. Divide that by 3, that's going to be negative 8x. Remember the negative outside. 4 times 12 is 48. Divide that by 3, that's going to be 16 minus 16x. 12 times 1 is 12. Divide that by 4, we're going to have plus 3x. Equals negative 7 times 12 is negative 84. All right, let's combine the like terms. Negative 8x and negative 16x, that's negative 24x. Plus 3x, that's going to be negative 21x. Equals negative 84. Divide both sides by negative 21. Negative 84 divided by negative 21 is positive 4. This is SSP, same sign, positive. All right. Okay, let's go on to number 16. We're going to multiply through, well, I got to backtrack. This is a mixed number. So we're going to have to first turn this mixed number into an improper fraction before we can use the least common multiple. So I'm going to copy what I have on this side. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So convert that to an improper fraction. Now I can use my least common multiple to get rid of the fraction. Well, what number will 3 divide evenly? Well, 3. Okay, so our least common multiple is 3. We can multiply this number by 3. We'll multiply this number by 3 and this number by 3. Every term by 3. Okay, so 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. This is 2n. 2 times 3 is 6 equals 7 times 3 is 21. Divide that by 3 is 7. Let's add 6 to both sides to solve for n. 2n equals 13. Divide by 2 both sides. N is 6.5, 6.5. All right, why don't you pause the video and try these two problems on your own and come back and check. I'm going to continue to work these problems. All right, our least common multiple's got to be 14 because 7 will divide 14 and 2 will divide 14. So multiply this term by 14, this term by 14, and this term by 14. 14 times 2 is 28. Divide that by 7. That's 4x. 3 times 14 is 42. 1 times 14 is 14. Divided by 2 is 7. Let's add 42 to both sides. We'll have 4x equals so this will give us 4x equals 49. Divide both sides by 4. 4 goes into 49 12 times because 12 times 4 is 48. When you take 48 from the top, you're left with 1/4. All right, number 18. Our least common multiple is 10, so we're going to multiply through by 10. Multiply this by 10, multiply this by 10, and this by 10. 10 times 3 is 30. Divide that by 5, that's 6x. 1 times 10 is 10. Divide that by 2, that's 5x. 8 times 10 is 80. Now we're going to combine these like terms. 6x minus 5x is 1x equals 80. And this concludes this video on solving equations with like terms.